Imagine loving someone so deeply that you'd be willing to kill them, not because you hate them, not because they betrayed you, but because in your eyes, death is the only way to save them. To most people, Hirara is simply another assassin from Scarlet Shadow, a dangerous girl consumed by madness. But monsters are rarely born, they are created. Long before she became known as the Fallen Scarlet, Hirara was just an innocent child searching for a place where she belonged. A single act of kindness gave her a reason to live, and years later that same kindness became the very reason she lost herself. This is the complete story of Hirara, one of the darkest tragedies ever told in Mobile Legends lore. Long before Hirara became one of Scarlet Shadow's deadliest warriors, she was simply a little girl. She wasn't born on a battlefield, she wasn't raised by ninjas. Her story began in a place few warriors ever called home, the Flower District. Hidden deep within Scarlet Shadow was a district where music echoed through lantern-lit streets, graceful dances entertained honoured guests, and beauty was treasured above all else. It was there that Hirara was raised by one of the district's most celebrated geishas. She taught the young girl how to dance with elegance, how to speak with grace, and how every movement could become a form of art. To Hirara, this woman was more than a teacher. She was family, but behind every graceful smile, her mentor carried a terrible fear. She had watched countless geishas grow old. She had seen beauty fade. She had seen admiration disappear, and over the years that fear slowly transformed into madness. She began to believe that beauty had only one true enemy: time. If every beautiful thing was destined to wither away, then perhaps it should be destroyed before the world had the chance to ruin it. Day after day, she whispered the same lesson into Hirara's ears. Decay is the greatest curse in this world. Hirara was still just a child. She didn't understand those words, but she remembered every single one. But the lesson about decay would not remain just words. One night, Hirara's teacher decided to prove her philosophy. She reached for a torch, and before sunrise, the Flower District would be consumed by flames. For years, Hirara believed her mentor's words were nothing more than strange lessons about life. She never imagined they were a promise. Then one quiet night, everything changed. The Flower District slept peacefully beneath the glow of paper lanterns. The streets were silent. The music had stopped. But inside the geisha house, one woman had already made her decision. She believed beauty was never meant to fade. It was meant to burn, with a single flame. Silk curtains caught fire, wooden walls crackled. Within moments, the entire house was consumed by an unstoppable inferno. The fire spread faster than anyone could escape. Panic echoed through the district. Guests fled into the streets. The dancers screamed. Smoke swallowed every room, but inside the burning building, Hirara never cried. Her mentor embraced her as the flames surrounded them. Then she whispered the same words one final time. Decay is the greatest curse in this world. To her mentor, this wasn't murder, it was mercy. She believed she was preserving beauty before time could destroy it. Young Hirara couldn't fully understand those words, but she would carry them for the rest of her life. As the roof collapsed, it seemed the little girl's story was about to end, until someone ran straight into the fire. The mysterious warrior carried Hirara out of the flames. To everyone else, it was simply the rescue of a child. But to Hirara, it was the moment her entire life gained a new purpose. She would devote everything to the girl who saved her. Her name was Hanabi. As the flames swallowed the geisha house, one young kunoichi ignored the danger. She didn't hesitate. She didn't wait for orders. She simply ran toward the fire. That young ninja was Hanabi. To Hanabi, saving Hirara was nothing more than doing what was right. She had no idea that one decision would forever change another person's life. When Hirara finally opened her eyes, the fire was gone. The smoke had cleared. For the first time in her life, and she was safe. Everything she had ever known was gone. Her home, reduced to ashes. Her teacher, gone forever. She had lost her family. She had lost her past. But she hadn't lost everything. Standing before her was the girl who had reached through the flames without asking for anything in return. To Hanabi, it was simply compassion. To Hirara, it was salvation. From that day forward, Hirara made a silent promise. I'll protect the person who protected me. She entered the Scarlet Sect, not to seek power, not to become famous, but to stand beside Hanabi. Every lesson she learned, every weapon she mastered, every scar she earned, had only one purpose: to keep Hanabi alive. For most people, loyalty has limits. For Hirara, it became her entire identity. She no longer asked herself, "Who am I?" The only question that mattered was, "How can I protect Hanabi?" She didn't realize it then, but the line between devotion and obsession had already begun to disappear. As Hirara devoted herself to protecting Hanabi, another young ninja was about to enter the Scarlet Sect. He came from a rival branch, quiet, disciplined, unmatched in skill. His name was Hayabusa, and without realizing it, his arrival would change both Hanabi's destiny and Hirara's. Life inside the Scarlet Sect was unlike anything Hirara had ever known. Gone were the songs of the Flower District. Now every sunrise began with discipline, every mistake carried consequences, every warrior trained with a single purpose: to protect Scarlet Shadow. For Hirara, however, the purpose was much simpler. As long as Hanabi was safe, nothing else mattered. But Scarlet Shadow was far larger than the Scarlet Sect alone. For generations, the clan had been divided into two paths. The Scarlet Sect mastered sacred weapons and overwhelming frontal combat. The Shadow Sect embraced silence, assassination, and the art of striking without ever being seen. Neither path was stronger than the other. Together they maintained the balance that protected the Cadia Riverlands. To preserve that balance, promising students from each sect were periodically exchanged. It was during one of those exchanges that a young prodigy arrived, quiet, focused, almost impossible to defeat. His name was Hayabusa. Unlike many young warriors, Hayabusa never fought to impress others. Every movement was calm, every strike was precise, every battle ended before his opponents even realized they had lost. Hanabi welcomed the challenge. Every sparring match pushed her further than ever before. She lost again, and again, and again. But instead of giving up, she trained even harder. Slowly, rivalry became respect. Respect became trust. And over time, Hanabi's admiration for Hayabusa quietly grew into something deeper. Hirara witnessed all of it. She didn't resent Hayabusa. Her attention never left Hanabi. She admired Hanabi's determination. But she also noticed something unsettling. Every challenge Hanabi accepted brought greater danger. The stronger Hanabi became, the heavier the burden she carried. And fate was preparing a burden greater than any of them could imagine. While Hanabi and Hayabusa grew stronger, another ninja walked a very different path. A warrior consumed by ambition, a disciple willing to sacrifice everything for power. His name was Hanzo, and the choice he was about to make would change Scarlet Shadow forever. Every legend has its hero, and every tragedy begins with a single choice. Long before he became one of the most feared assassins in the Land of Dawn, Hanzo was a disciple of Scarlet Shadow, gifted, disciplined, respected. But talent was never enough for him. Hanzo didn't want to become stronger than his fellow students. He wanted power that no human should ever possess. Deep beneath Scarlet Shadow, hidden from every disciple, rested an ancient weapon. A blade so dangerous that even speaking its name was forbidden. Amino Habakiri. Unlike ordinary weapons, this sword possessed a will of its own. It whispered to those who approached it, promising unmatched strength, promising victory, promising freedom from every weakness. Most warriors resisted its temptation. Hanzo did not. One night, while Scarlet Shadow slept, he entered the sacred chamber alone. The moment his hand closed around the blade, the seal was broken. A wave of crimson energy erupted through the shrine. The sword accepted him, but at a terrible price. Its power flooded his body. His speed became inhuman. His strength surpassed imagination. But with every heartbeat, the blade devoured more of his humanity. The man who walked into that chamber never walked back out. From that night forward, Hanzo no longer served Scarlet Shadow. He served only the hunger of the cursed blade. The clan had lost one of its finest warriors, and gained one of its greatest enemies. Scarlet Shadow had failed to stop Hanzo before he escaped. Now, there was only one option left. Someone had to hunt him down. The the mission would fall to the clan's greatest young warriors, Hayabusa, Hanabi, and watching from the shadows, Hirara. The moment Hanzo disappeared into the shadows, Scarlet Shadow knew what had to be done. The stolen blade could not be allowed to remain in his hands. Every day he lived, the curse of Aim no Habakiri grew stronger. The clan assembled its finest warriors, Hayabusa, Hanabi, and behind them, silently watching over Hanabi, Hirara. For Hanabi, this mission was more than simply defeating a traitor. It was an opportunity to prove that she was worthy of leading the Scarlet Sect. For Hayabusa, it was his duty as a Shadow Sect ninja. But for Hirara, there was only one mission: bring Hanabi home alive. Days passed. The hunters followed scattered traces of demonic energy across the Cadia riverlands. Villages abandoned, forests scarred, every trail led to the same conclusion. Hanzo was no longer merely hiding, he was transforming. Finally, they found him. Standing alone beneath a crimson sky, the man they once knew was gone. Only the cursed blade remained. The battle began instantly. Steel collided with steel. Shadow met sacred flame. Hayabusa attacked with flawless precision. Hanabi fought with everything she had, but Hanzo was stronger than either of them expected. Then, everything fell apart. Hanzo's demonic power erupted across the battlefield. The ground shattered. The team was separated. Hirara tried to reach Hanabi, but walls of collapsing stone and cursed energy blocked her path. For the first time since the fire, she could do nothing, helpless. That was the feeling Hirara feared more than death itself. She watched every strike, every wound, every drop of Hanabi's blood, and she couldn't stop any of it. At that moment, Hirara believed she had failed. The promise she made as a child, the promise to protect the person who had saved her, was about to be broken. As Hanabi's vision faded, time itself seemed to stop. She no longer stood on the battlefield. Instead, she found herself in a place between the mortal world and the spiritual realm. Waiting for her was the ancient spirit of Higanbana. As Hanabi's body collapsed, the battlefield disappeared. The clash of steel faded. The screams became silent. For a brief moment, there was nothing. No pain, no fear, only endless darkness. Then, a crimson flower bloomed. Hanabi opened her eyes, but she was no longer standing in the world of the living. She had entered a place beyond mortal understanding, a realm where the spirit of Higanbana awaited its chosen wielder. For years, Hanabi believed strength alone would earn the weapon's acceptance. She trained harder than anyone. She fought without hesitation. She refused to show weakness, but Higanbana demanded something greater than strength. The sacred weapon had never rejected Hanabi because she lacked skill. It rejected her because she carried a burden she refused to acknowledge: pride. Hanabi believed a leader should never appear vulnerable, never hesitate, never fail. But true strength is not the absence of weakness. It is the courage to accept it. For the first time, Hanabi stopped fighting. She accepted every victory, every mistake, every fear, every scar. She accepted herself. The flower had never sought perfection. It sought honesty. And at that moment, Higanbana finally recognized its true master. Power unlike anything she had ever wielded surged through her body. For the first time, Hanabi and Higanbana fought as one. The tide of battle changed instantly. Hanzo was forced back, but despite her newfound strength, the cursed ninja escaped into the shadows. The battle was over, yet for one person, the nightmare had only just begun. Everyone celebrated survival. Hirara remembered only one thing. She had failed. She had watched Hanabi come within a heartbeat of death, and she could do nothing to stop it. Hanabi had finally become the leader the Scarlet Sect needed. But Hirara no longer saw a victorious hero. She saw someone destined to suffer, again and again. If she truly wanted to protect Hanabi, then perhaps becoming stronger wasn't enough. Perhaps she needed a different kind of power. The battle against Hanzo was over. Hanabi survived. Scarlet Shadow celebrated. The clan believed they had witnessed a victory. But while everyone else looked toward the future, Hirara remained trapped in that single moment. The image of Hanabi collapsing replayed in her mind, again and again and again. She couldn't sleep. She couldn't find peace. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Hanabi dying. To everyone else, Hanabi had become stronger. To Hirara, Hanabi had become impossible to protect. She trained harder, longer, without rest. But every strike ended with the same question. What if I'm still not enough? No amount of training could erase that fear. Then, one night, she remembered something few were ever allowed to see. Hidden beneath the Scarlet Sect rested another great armament, a pair of sacred fans sealed away for generations, not because they lacked power, but because their power came with a terrible price. Every great armament possesses a spirit. It does not simply obey its wielder, it judges them, it shapes them, and sometimes it changes them. The moment her fingers touched the sacred weapon, the world disappeared. She watched Hanabi fight. She watched Hanabi bleed. She watched Hanabi sacrifice herself. Again, again, again. An endless future of suffering. Then, a voice echoed through the silence. If suffering never ends, why protect it? The fans never commanded Hirara. They whispered to the fear already inside her. Every doubt became certainty. Every fear became conviction. The weapon didn't create her obsession. It transformed it. Little by little, the girl who wanted to save Hanabi began disappearing. From that night onward, Hirara saw the world differently. Where others saw life, she saw inevitable suffering. Where others saw hope, she saw unavoidable loss. And where others saw Hanabi, Hirara saw someone who needed to be saved, no matter the cost. The twin fans had changed Hirara, not overnight, not in a single moment, but little by little, until the world she once knew no longer looked the same. Where others saw courage, she saw suffering. Where others saw duty, she saw sacrifice. And every future she imagined ended the same way. Hanabi dying. Again, again, again. The fear that once drove Hirara to become stronger had become something else, an obsession. She no longer believed that strength could protect Hanabi. She had seen the impossible. Even the strongest could fall. Even heroes could bleed. Even Hanabi could die. Then, the whispers returned. If suffering cannot be stopped, end the suffering. To anyone else, the thought would be unbearable. To Hirara, it slowly began to sound like mercy. She wasn't seeking revenge. She wasn't seeking power. She believed she had finally found the answer. If Hanabi's destiny was endless pain, then freeing her from that destiny was the greatest act of love she could offer. Hanabi refused to believe the girl she once saved was truly gone. She searched, not to destroy Hirara, but to bring her home, to remind her that protecting someone doesn't mean deciding their fate. Both women still wished to protect the other, but they no longer agreed on what protection meant. For Hanabi, to protect someone is to help them live. For Hirara, to protect someone is to spare them from pain. That difference is what transformed a loyal guardian into the Fallen Scarlet. Some stories end with a final battle. Hirara's does not yet. Her story is still unfolding. Will Hanabi save the girl who once devoted her life to protecting her? Can Hirara break free from the influence of the twin fans, or has her love already become something beyond saving? Only time will answer those questions. As of the current Mobile Legends lore, Hirara remains one of the most tragic figures in Scarlet Shadow. She's not driven by hatred, nor by ambition. She's driven by a sincere, but deeply distorted desire to protect the person who gave her life meaning. Hanabi continues searching for her, hoping to save the girl she once rescued from the flames. Whether that reunion ends in redemption, or another tragedy, has yet to be revealed. Sometimes, the greatest tragedies are born not from hatred, but from love. If you enjoyed this journey into the world of Mobile Legends lore, leave a like to support the channel. And if you'd like to uncover more hidden stories from the Land of Dawn,
subscribe to the Joja Archives.
Until next time, every legend has a story.